hour. Got the hottest plays, all the breaking news. Every rumor, every trade, every breaking bruise. Tighten knuckle screws, yeah, it's going down. Have you saying what the fuck and never watered down? It's going down, I'll be rolling up. And if you buy it or you sell it, then you made the cut. Watch me flip it back, I can double up. I got Sriracha for that ass, I'ma burn it up. Gotta check the rules and know that if you fair and foul, ref blow the whistle, coach throw the towel. We can do this on the field or outside the line. It's the man hour though, now we going live.
And welcome to the Mike and Mike Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhuister here, coming at you live, raw and uncut sports talk on this Thursday edition of the Mike and Mike Man Hour, guys. If you would be most inclined, head over to mikeandmikemanhour.com. Pick yourself up some merchandise. We got hoodies, t-shirts, dad hats, and beanies over there as well, along with some stickers and whatnot as well. If you are not into any of that kind of stuff, just leave a donation. A couple dollars here, a couple dollars here goes a long ways. Help us get some fancy backgrounds, some new microphones, a nice mixer. You know, bring your top quality entertainment to you 3 times a day, starting next week. That's right, guys. We got Man Hour AM with myself and Coach Tip. Then we have the actual Mike and Mike Man Hour coming at you at 1 o'clock. Monday through Friday, East Coast time, right here on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mike and Mike Man Hour. And then, of course, we have the After Dark with my man, Brandon Combs. Man, a lot of Man Hour, guys. See you 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, except for After Hours is only Monday through Thursday until high school season's over. Once high school season's over, then come at you 5 days a week. But, guys, man, that is what? 3 times 5, that's 15 hours of man talk every single week. And if you guys are wondering where we're aired besides YouTube and Facebook, you can find us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and now Amazon as well. That's right, Amazon just released some podcast formats over there on Amazon. So if you are an Amazon member, download this podcast. It would be awesome. Take us everywhere. We're also a part of the All Access Sports Network. That's allaccesssportsnetwork.com. You can hear us live on there 3 times a day as well, starting with the noon edition with the Man Hour, of course. With all the negalities out of the way, or however you want to say that word whatsoever, we have some fantasy football talk later, so we'll take our first break here in like a little bit, and we're going to bring Matt McPeak on and talk a little bit of fantasy football. So, I mean, Matt is a fantasy football guru for the All Access Sports Network here. He is with the show Kickin' or Stickin'. They are aired every Friday morning right there on the All Access Sports Network, allaccesssportsnetwork.com. Click on the play button, and it's a live feed between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. at night. Also, we're going to break down the Eagles-Giants game. Who is going to win tonight's game and why? But, of course, we have to give you guys some breaking news first. Some breaking news, well, not really breaking news per se, but rumors starting to circulate and whatnot. If you guys are following us on Twitter, you should. Mike Man Hour is where you can find our Twitter handle, which is going to change to Man Hour. All of our handles are going to change to Man Hour starting next week. But with that being said, like I said, some of the breaking news / rumors / what the F is going on in the NFL is Antonio Brown and the Seattle Seahawks talk is starting to boil back up. About a month ago, actually it was right before the season started, Josh Gordon and Dez Bryant and Antonio Brown were all free agents, and they said who is going to go in Seattle, right? Basically, it came down to, as my alarm starts to go off, so my bad, guys, sorry about that. The talks were Josh Gordon and between Antonio Brown were going to go to Seattle to start the season off because they needed some wide receiver help, yada, yada, yada. Well, push comes to shove, they didn't need any help. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett was doing their thing over there in Seattle, but now that the trade deadline is picking up to pick up players to move on to make a push for that postseason run, what's it, about 11 days away right now, I do believe. Antonio Brown talks are starting to heat back up again. So, as you guys know, Russell Wilson is the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. He worked out with Antonio Brown in the offseason. They become a bond. They become friends, whatever. Geno Smith, a backup quarterback in Seattle, was also a part of those workouts. Now, me being a realist here, I watch ESPN from time to time. I watch FS1. I watch NFL Channel. You know, like I see what's happening and I see interviews. Russell Wilson was on the First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman just a couple days ago, and he was praising how much he loved DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is my guy. DK Metcalf is this, and this. And then all of a sudden, this Antonio Brown stuff starts to surface even more. So the question that I'm going to propose to the people here, do the Seattle Seahawks really need Antonio Brown? Do the Seattle Seahawks really need Antonio Brown? Let's face it, DK Metcalf is their number one receiver. What, he is 6'5", 6'6", 230, built like a brick shit house. Let's be flat out honest. This guy is a man among boys out there. Russell Wilson loves him. I would love him too. Shit, just throw the ball up there and go get it, big boy. He's getting the majority of the targets. Tyler Lockett is your shifty, I'm going to run a tunnel screen to you, get yourself in the open field and go score me some points, right? Also, I'm going to throw it as far as I can. Tyler Lockett, you go get that sun gun. Tell me, where does Antonio Brown fit into that mix? Antonio Brown is not as fast as Tyler Lockett is, so he is not going to take that threat away, right? Antonio Brown is smaller than DK Metcalf, so yes, Antonio Brown can run over the middle routes and whatnot, I guess. So, he would be your number 3. Do you think Antonio Brown is going to come to a team and become a number 3 receiver? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So then I started to fumble around here and try to do some research. What other teams could really use the services of Antonio Brown, right? People keep saying the Ravens. He wants to go play with his cousin, yada, yada, yada. Well, breaking news here. Dez Bryant has signed with the Baltimore Ravens on the practice squad. But, he performs, he gets himself in shape, game ready. I could see Dez Bryant being out there for the Baltimore Ravens here in a couple weeks, get acclimated to the offense and whatnot. So they don't need Antonio Brown if they're bringing in Dez Bryant. Green Bay Packers come to mind. They could use a, quote, number 1 receiver, right? Oh, wait, they have Adams. Wait, they have Fungens, right? Yes, they could always – you can always add depth to your team at any position, right? It is like I said before, it is like adding another screwdriver to the toolbox. You can never have too many specialized screwdrivers. You have the or torque wrenches, we'll say. You have the T1s, the T25s, T60s, right? They all have their specialized needs. But is Antonio Brown's head on right to be able to compete for a position in the NFL? Is Antonio's head right to even travel to a team like the Detroit Lions? The Detroit Lions could use a receiver. I said this back in, August, when Dez Bryant first started to come out and say, hey, I want to play again. People were entertaining his services and whatnot. I said, Antonio Brown needs to go to a place where there is zero media. Zero media coverage. Where's that team? The Detroit Lions. A Miami Dolphins. You can say Green Bay per se, but probably not, because they got Aaron freaking Rodgers, MVP caliber play this season. They're 5-1. Thank you, Michelle, for the like. Definitely appreciate that. You guys need to understand, Antonio Brown, he may not even be eligible to play this season. Yes, he can come back and practice with the team after his 8-week suspension or week 8. I don't know if it was a suspension or whatever, whatnot. I don't know the logistics of what he is going to be punished with, but things are going to have to move fast. Let's be flat out honest, because he has to sit out for 10 days, I think it is. That's a big old fly because it's flying around my head. Because of the whole COVID stuff, right? That's why LaShawn McCoy did not participate with the Chiefs last time in the last game versus the who they play, the Buffalo Bills on Monday. No more Tuesday night games. So when you sit back and really think about this long and hard. Antonio Brown is a great talent. I'm not taking that away from him whatsoever. Antonio Brown is by far one of the best receivers that we have seen in our generation. My generation being the 30 and under club, right? Because I'm 33 years old. Didn't really say quite. You can say I started watching football when I was 5 and 6, but did I understand what was going on? Hell no. It took me to about the age of 14 to really understand what was going on in the NFL game. So, I've been watching, say, 15, 16, 17 years or so, right? Passionately. With that being said, if the Seattle Seahawks sign Antonio Brown, it will be one of the biggest mistakes that they have ever made in that organization. Where do they need help? They need help on the defensive side of the ball. Russell Wilson has to put up 35-plus points a game to be able to win football games for the Seattle Seahawks. That is just the way it's been the last couple, 6 games, because their defense is horrendous. When you have a safety, like I said, Jamal Adams is leading the team in tackles, something is wrong with that front seven. They need to address it. Addressing the offensive side of the ball might add an extra weapon on the backside, or it could cause a cancer. Either way you think about it, it is not going to be good for them moving forward. But nonetheless, I don't think Antonio Brown goes to Seattle. You can stir all you want. I don't think he is going to a team like the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, they just signed Dez Bryant to the practice squad. I don't think he is going to the Cowboys. I mean, they have a stable of receivers. What about Houston? Houston seems, all the receivers are on the block for Houston like at this point. And I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'm still going to stand by it. I think the Houston Texans wide receiver core is a top 5 receiving core in all of NFL. Not individually, but as a core. As a core, I think they are a top 5 receiver core. So you add somebody like Dez Bryant to them, whatever. But I think the front runners is going to be a team like the Green Bay Packers. Yes, they have Adams. Yes, they have Fungens, and they have the wide receiver that sit out for COVID this season. His name's slipping my mind. As Matt Ben says, Pack signs AB, they will win the ring. True. I would say the Green Bay Packers are a receiver away from winning the championship this season. Is Antonio Brown the answer? If he is right in the head, if he is willing enough to take a back seat and say, hey, I am not the number 1 receiver, I am the number 2, the number 3, that is the only way the Green Bay Packers will win the championship this year. I'm not saying the only way, because I still right now in the NFC have the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers playing for the right to go to the Super Bowl. Offensive shootout, one way or the other. Wherever AB goes, wins the championship, right? I think AB goes to the Green Bay Packers. If the Green Bay Packers do not make a push for Antonio Brown, something is wrong with the Green Bay Packers front office. Let me repeat what I just said. If the Green Bay Packers do not make a push for Antonio Brown, something is wrong with the Green Bay Packers front office. Somebody needs to let go at the end of the season if they don't make a push. It's simple as that. So moving on from the Antonio Brown guys, in the comment section, if you're watching this live on Facebook Live, the Mike and Mike Man Hour Facebook page, as Matthew John Benzes from Benzies Bit and Twist Nation over there. Shout out to those guys. Or if you watch us on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mike and Mike Man Hour, or if you watch us on the Mike and Mike Man Hour website, comment. Guys, let me know where it is Antonio Brown. Where do you think Antonio Brown is going to go? I don't care where he goes. Just where do you think he is going to go? I would be curious to see what people think. Next up, before we bring into fantasy talk with Matt McPeak, Odell Beckham Jr. A couple weeks ago, was it 3 weeks ago? Yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago. Trade rumors started to surface around Cleveland and Odell Beckham Jr. The Cleveland Browns affirmed to us that they did not want to move Odell Beckham Jr. Now, it seems like the Cleveland Browns are a 0-7 football team going into Week 8, right? It seems nothing is going right in Cleveland Brown. But, hey, guys, news story, news break, breaking news, hashtag spoiler alert, the Browns are 4-2. They lost to the best AFC team last week. And they beat a top AFC team the week before that. Why are the Cleveland Browns and Odell Beckham Jr. all this controversy happening? Said, Odell Beckham Jr. and the Seattle Seahawks have been linked into trading for, or the Seattle Seahawks have been linked to trading for Odell Beckham Jr. now. What? What? First things first, why in the hell are the Seattle Seahawks so hell-bent of getting a receiver? Why? It doesn't make sense. They have one of the top 10 receivers in all of NFL football in DK Metcalf over there. They have Tyler Lockett, quite arguably one of the most prolific, most high-flying receivers behind Tyreek Hill in all of football. And you have Russell Wilson. Don't mess up that chemistry by bringing Antonio Brown in there or Odell Beckham Jr. You guys are asking for a war to hurt. If the Seattle Seahawks want to make a move before the trade deadline or free agent deadline or whatever, how about Earl Thomas? Fix that defense. Earl Thomas plus Jamal Adams. Secondary will be killer. Front seven still needs work. Clay Matthews is looking for a job. Maybe make a push for Clowney. Bring him back. I don't know. Shit, something. But don't go the offense. But got Mike and Mike Man Hour. Gonna take a little quick break. On the other side of the break, we have the one, the only Matt McPeak from Kicking or Sticking Fantasy Football, your fantasy football guru, right here on the AllAccessSportsNetwork.com radio network. Right back. And welcome back to the Mike and Mike Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeister here with the Mike and Mike Man Hour, guys. Head over to MikeandMikeManHour.com. Pick yourself up some merchandise. We have some new hoodies and some new dad hats over there. But as promised, on the other side of the break, we have a special guest. It's Fantasy Thursday. Matt McPeak from Kicking or Sticking Fantasy Podcast there. Matt, what is going on today, man?
Not too much, man. It's a good day. Got through another week of football, which is always a good thing. We were getting kind of nervous that we might get another Tuesday night game or a game might get canceled altogether. But we are through 6 weeks. We're about a third of the way done with the season already. So yeah, man, it's been a good week so far. I'm just getting ready for week 7.
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, if you would have asked me back in August if we would have made it this far in the season, I would have told you no. Tim, thank you for the like there on the old Facebook page there. But I mean, we've seen Tennessee Titans get shut down. We've seen the Patriots get shut down. We've seen the Indianapolis Colts get shut down for like 16 minutes, and they're like, oh no, we're fine. And then most recent, we've seen the Carolina Panthers get shut down as well, as per cautionary air quotes there. But hopefully we get through the season and there's big, no more mix-ups and like whatnot. But before we get too far away, Matt, where can people find your show?
Yeah, so Friday nights, the RTF Sports Network, 6 o'clock. My show is on then. You can get me Thursday night, Friday mornings. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and it's on Amazon Audible now, so you can get us on Amazon. Pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts. So I go through every game for the week, highlight some players with the best matchups in each game, point out the players that you might want to consider sitting, give a few opinions on some prop bets, maybe some team totals, and then I go through my podcast picks each week. We got 3 picks against the spread, 3 touchdown score prop bets, 1 over, 1 under, and then we got 1 road dog of the week. I'm actually 6-0 on my road dog picks and 62% altogether. So yeah, man, check out the podcast, get some stats for your, get some help with your fantasy decisions, and make a little bit of money with me. It's all good.
Yeah, and speaking of making a little bit of money and your fantasy picks, obviously this is for the Thursday night game. And the Thursday night games, we have the New York Jets taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. They're both 1 wins on the season. So give me some fantasy advice about this game.
Yeah, so it's actually the New York Giants. It's a common slip. It's all good. I got you. It's
the Jets. My bad.
It's all good, man. Hey, you see my boy Broadway Joe in the background. I can't blame you.
Right.
But yeah, the Giants are getting 4.5 points in this game. The over/under set at 45 right now. I think it opened at 43.5 maybe. So it has been bet up. Miles Sanders is reportedly going to be out, as per Chris Mortensen of ESPN. Zach Ertz is going to be out with an ankle injury. Maybe that's a good thing for him. He's only caught 5 of his last 16 targets, so he is definitely no longer the top tier tight end that we're used to getting from him. For the Giants, we got Devontae Freeman. He has 46 carries over the last 3 weeks, but only 3.3 yards per carry, only 9 targets in those 3 games. The Eagles' run D is pretty good. They just held the Ravens running backs to under 2.5 yards per carry, which is not very easy. So I think Devontae Freeman is a sit in this game. I would not play him. Darius Slayton got us a touchdown last week, but only 2 catches on 4 targets. He's still their number 1 wide receiver, so he's probably the best start of this game, to be honest. The Eagles have allowed 7 different wide receivers to catch at least 1 20-yard pass or more this year. So they're letting guys get downfield. That's what Slayton does. He runs those deep routes. And we do have a revenge game for Golden Tate. He hasn't really done much this year. No touchdown in 5 games. He's only averaging 31 yards a game, only 1 catch last week. But maybe that little taste of revenge can get him motivated for this one. Evan Ingram, the Giants tight end, only 2 catches on 3 targets last week, and that was against one of the best matchups you can have as a tight end in fantasy football against the Washington football team. He's got a great matchup here against the Eagles. They've been pretty bad against tight ends too, but he's just not doing much, man. 4 games with 3 or less catches, 4 games with 30 yards or less. His only touchdown this year came on a rushing play. So I'm not playing him in fantasy, but I guess I can't knock you if you wanted to get him into your lineup, with a couple tight ends on bye this week. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm staying away from Evan Ingram. The play for the Eagles to me is Boston Scott. He had 2 really nice games against the Giants last year, 266 total yards in the 2 games combined. Caught 10 balls, had 29 carries in those 2 games. The Giants' run defense hasn't been bad this year, but they are in the top 12 as far as fantasy points allowed to running backs. So with no Miles Sanders, I think Boston Scott is the man in this game. Plus, he's the home running back. Home running backs on Thursday nights have always done very well. Except the New York Jets running backs. So with so many injuries to that offensive line for the Eagles, they should just run the freaking ball, man. They should just put 2 tight ends on the field, put a fullback back there. I don't care if you have to use a defensive lineman as your fullback, but do whatever you got to do. They have to establish the run in this game. So
definitely a homer talking there, huh?
Hey, man. I am a Jets fan.
You are.
But living here in the Eagles area, I've come to enjoy watching this Eagles football team. Not this year, but
You come to accept the enemy.
yes,
Right.
yeah. Sometimes you gotta, if you can't beat them, you gotta join them, right?
Exactly.
But you got Dallas Goedert, who is going to be eligible to return for this game, coming off of the IR. Spent 3 weeks on the IR with a fracture in his ankle. So if he's active, he is definitely a must start for the Eagles. Rookie Jalen Rager is also going to be eligible. Not sure if he's going to be coming off the IR, but I wouldn't be as excited to get him in my lineup if he is active. I have him in a dynasty league. But I don't know how much we can really expect from him. So even in that league, I'm probably not going to be, jumping at the bit to get him in my lineup. Deshaun Jackson is expected to play here, so I don't know how much we can get from him. Maybe 1 or 2 plays before he pulls the hamstring, and we see him on the bike for the rest of the game. But I think the best option for Carson Wentz and for us fantasy managers in the passing game is going to be this kid Travis Fulgham. 3 straight games now with a touchdown, back-to-back games with 10 or more targets, 16 catches over those 2 games combined. I think he's a very solid start in this game. I think he should see a good 8 to 10 targets, no problem with the problems that the Eagles are having in the passing game. As far as the game lines go, I'm honestly pretty surprised that the Eagles are favored in this game, with their 2 best offensive weapons being out, but I guess with the Eagles being home, they're giving those points to the Giants. I'm staying away from betting either one of these sides or the total, really. Just so many uncertainties and injuries. Like I said, the over-under opened about 1.5 lower than it is right now, so the public has been on the side of the under, but these teams, they know each other so well. I have no idea what to expect. Is it going to be a low-scoring game, a high-scoring game? Who the hell knows? But there are a few props that I do very much like. I already bet them earlier today when I was eating my lunch, actually. Darius Slayton, longest reception, is at over 22.5 yards right now. Here's his longest catches of the season so far. So in week 1, he had a 41-yard touchdown catch against Pittsburgh. Week 2, 17-yard catch against Chicago. They got a really good defense. 23-yard catches against San Francisco. 33-yarder against the Rams. 39 yards against the Cowboys. And then last week, another 23-yarder for another touchdown against the Washington football team. So I really like that one. Over 22.5 yards. That's what he does, man.
Seems like a no-brainer almost.
Yeah, right. So when I looked at that, I had to jump on it. However, the Eagles are allowing they're only allowing 16 explosive passing plays so far this year, which is a pass play of 15 yards or more. That's the 8th fewest in the league so far. So it has been one thing that the Eagles have done well. But still, man, I'm taking my shot on this kid, Darius Slayton, to catch one for at least 23 yards. I like that one.
I do too.
Daniel Jones rushing yards over 29.5. The Eagles have allowed the 5th most rushing yards to quarterbacks so far this year. Now, 80% of that came against Lamar Jackson last week, but the Eagles have not really faced any quarterbacks that pose a threat with their legs, except for Lamar Jackson. They played Dwayne Haskins, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Nick Mullins, and Big Ben. So, and please don't get it twisted here. I am not saying that Daniel Jones is on the same level as Lamar Jackson, but I do think that Daniel Jones can use his legs to at least pick up a few first downs. Jones had 21 and 22 rushing yards in weeks 1 and 2. Then he had 43 and 45 rushing yards in weeks 3 and 4. Actually, in week 5, he had kind of a bad game, but then 74 rushing yards last week. So, yeah, I like that one too. Daniel Jones to hit 30 rushing yards. And then the last one that I really like here, Fulgham receptions over 4.5. Like I said, he's caught 16 balls over the last 2 weeks. I fully expect him to see 8 to 10 targets in this game. He's caught 70% of his targets so far this year, so I think he can catch 5 balls, no problem. Yeah, that's what I like in this game as far as the bets go. I really like Boston Scott. I would love to get Dallas Goedert in my lineup if he's active for this game. And like I said, I think really the only Giant that I'd be excited to play is Darius Slayton.
Yeah, and just to add to your prop bets there, I really do like the first two bets there. And just to add some fuel to your fire there, Daniel Jones is the leading rusher for the New York Giants.
There you go.
At 204 4 yards on 7 attempts. So just want to point that out there. But let's ask you some fantasy questions here, and this is going to start on the Eagles side. Doug Peterson earlier in the week said that he is going to try to get Jalen Hurts worked more into the offense. If Carson Wentz is your starting quarterback, do you think about sitting him moving forward because of that news coming out?
It definitely is not going to make you feel good as a Carson Wentz manager. You know, it always sucks when you start hearing rumblings of the backup quarterback getting play. But I think this situation is different. I think they drafted Jalen Hurts to be somewhat of a Taysom Hill type of player, a guy that is not going to take Drew Brees off the field, but is going to be more of a supplement. You know, we saw last week that one play where I think Hurts took the shotgun snap. He threw it to Carson Wentz on the sideline, and then Wentz threw it back to Hurts. So, you know, I think they might actually help each other a little bit, giving Carson Wentz another weapon on the field. This dude, when he was in college, he was a hell of a football player, and I think Doug Peterson's a really smart dude, really smart coach. I think he's going to get the best out of him, and I think he's going to figure out a way to be able to keep both of them on the field and producing. So to answer your question, no, I would not be all that worried about Hurts coming in and taking meaningful snaps away from Carson Wentz. You know, Wentz is still going to be the guy taking the snap on 3rd and 10. You know, and he's going to start the game. And when they're in the red zone, it's going to be Wentz. So
you certainly would hope so, but
yeah,
I've seen weird things in the NFL.
You never know with these NFL coaches. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So, and then one other injury. Obviously, Miles Sanders is reported not to play on Thursday night. However, he has only gave me 443 yards on the season so far, rushing total in those 6 games that he has played. Are you considering trading or dropping Miles Sanders like at this point if you own him or manage him?
So I do have him in a handful of my leagues. The idea of dropping him has never crossed my mind. I drafted him either in the 1st or 2nd round in every one of those leagues, so you can't drop him. The Eagles, they have been absolutely ravaged by the injury bug. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat today that the only 2 starters that are going to be playing for the Eagles tomorrow or today, the only 2 starters that started the season are Jason Kelce, the center, and Carson Wentz, the quarterback. So their offensive line has gotten beat up. There's nobody that poses a threat at wide receiver except for Fulgham. So teams are able to just load up the box. And Miles Sanders is not the kind of running back that is going to just plow up the middle for you. He needs space to work with. So hopefully as this Eagles offensive line gets a little healthier, as the Eagles team as a whole gets a little healthier, and they get some more weapons incorporated into their offense, that should open things up a little bit for Miles Sanders. I mean, it never hurts to try and trade a player that maybe you're not so high on. The only thing is his value is probably at an all-time low right now, so you're probably not going to get much for him. But hey, man, if you're playing in a league with a bunch of Eagles fans like myself, like Eagle fans are loaded in a lot of my leagues.
Right.
I'll try and trade him, see if I can get somebody that is going to actually play for me for the next couple weeks. But for the most part, I'm holding on to him, and I'm holding out hope that this Eagles offense figures it out, gets a little healthier, and gets Miles Sanders into some better situations.
With the NFL trade deadline coming up here in about a week or so, I believe it's October 28th is when the NFL trade deadline is officially over. There are players such as A.J. Green wanting to get traded and some other players just like that. Let's say A.J. Green does get traded to a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. Does that boost his stock any?
Does that boost A.J. Green stock, or are we still talking Miles Sanders?
Both.
I think it helps both of them, man. A.J. Green is a hell of a player, but he's on a team right now where they got 2 other wide receivers that are producing. I think he had the most target. He had his second most targets in a game last week, so that was encouraging for A.J. Green managers. But yeah, I mean, I think if he were to go to the Eagles, that would be an awesome fit. I don't know if that trade is really in the books because A.J. Green is playing under the franchise tag this year, I believe, which means he's getting paid a boatload of money. So, yeah, it would definitely help Sanders, having a legitimate wide receiver on the outside that you got to keep a safety back because of him. It would definitely help Sanders, and I think it would help everybody on the Eagles, really, if you were to go to the Eagles. I think that would be a great fit.
Alrighty, guys. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us, as always, here on Fantasy Thursday here on the Mike and Mike Man Hour, guys. Check out Matt McPeak's Fantasy Kickin' or Stickin' Fantasy Football Podcast. It is a new episode is out every Friday, and he's with here us every Thursday afternoon to give us a little preview of the Thursday night games. Matt, any closing thoughts before we let you go, man?
Let's just all keep praying to whatever God you pray to that the coronavirus can stay away from our beloved NFL players and can keep these guys on the field so we can keep having fun playing fantasy football. The world is better when there's NFL football.
Exactly. And before we let you go, who wins tonight? Giants or Eagles?
I would have to put my money on the Eagles if you're going to force me to, but like I said, this is a game that I want to stay away from, but I do think the Eagles can pull this game out. They're playing at home. They're getting some guys back. The Giants team as a whole is not very good, so yeah, I would take the Eagles.
This quite arguably might be one of the worst football games to watch all of Week 7. But guys,
yeah.
So thank you, Matt, as always. Kicking or Sticking Fantasy Football Podcast. New episode out every Friday. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, and now Amazon as well. Guys, we're going to take a quick little break. Right after the break, LeBlanc and I are going to break down the Giants versus the Eagles, who wins and why. Stay tuned. MikeandMikeManHour.com. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckasher here, live, raw, and uncut sports talk coming on to the Thursday edition. That was Matt McPeak with Fantasy Kicking or Sticking Fantasy Football Podcast from the All Access Sports Network. You guys can check his show out every Friday morning, 10 a.m., right here on the All Access Sports Network.com radio network. And while we were playing that segment there, we had some questions come through the wire. Triple Shot Sports asked, should I play Drew Brees versus Carolina or Big Ben versus Tennessee? And spoiler alert, that was recorded last night. So we cannot ask the man live questions. But if you guys do have fantasy questions for us, submit them to us in our Facebook inbox or Twitter at Mike Manhour. And I will ask Matt those questions next Wednesday night when we record the segments. And Triple Shot Sports says, I want the pros' thoughts, not your thoughts, Buck. I taught him everything that he knows. So who's the real pro? Who's the real pro? But with all that being said, guys, welcome back to the Man Hour. Head over to www.mikeandmikemanhour.com. Pick yourselves up some hoodies, t-shirts, or beanies as well. We got the AM edition stuff over there. We have the after hour stuff in there. Of course, we have the original Mike and Mike man-hour stuff. With all that being said, guys, Mike is on vacation for the rest of the week. Yes, he just took a vacation a couple weeks ago, but he is moving into his new place, getting settled in, getting the new vibe look happening, so he will be with us next Monday. So with that being said, it is time to break down the Philadelphia Eagles take on the New York Giants. As you guys know, they do play tonight on Thursday Night Football on Fox, 8:20 kickoff East Coast time. The Philadelphia Eagles are now favored by 4.5 points. Last night when we looked, it was right at 4, so it has increased for another 0.5. With that being said, if you're going to bet the point spread on this game and you're taking the Giants, you better jump on it real quick because it keeps changing. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But some breaking news just in here, right before the show started, and obviously we recorded that segment last night. Zach Ertz is officially out for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. He has been placed on the 3-week IR, so he will be out for the foreseeable future. So let's look at that. Let's click on the full injury report, and let me talk for about 5 minutes while this thing loads here. But the Philadelphia Eagle injury report, just like what Matt said, it is starting to add up. The only people you have starting that started week 1 right now is Carson Wentz and Jason Kelce, which is the center, which is crazy to me to even think about that. But then you look at the Giants side of things. They lost Saquon Barkley. What was it, week 2 or week 3? They are out some wide receivers as well. I mean, this could quite arguably be the worst football game of the season to watch. And as I say that, watch it be the most impelling game of the season. It goes into overtime. The Eagles kick a last-second field goal with 5 seconds left in overtime to win it 3-0 or something like that. But I mean, it is not going to be that low of scoring, but the over/under is 45 points. I'm definitely taking the under in this game. I don't see both teams scoring over 20 points. Little alone one team scoring over 20 points. Now I see you guys saying on the old YouTube page there, youtube.com/Mike and Mike Man Hour. Subscribe to that. Like it as well. Got the moderator in there today. But I see him saying, it came across my phone, so I don't know if he texted or messaged it. But nonetheless, he said, but wait, the Philadelphia Eagles scored 28 points versus the Baltimore Ravens. A very, very good Baltimore Ravens defense. You're right. They did. They were also down 21-0 for the Baltimore Ravens, and they took the foot off the gas. Let's be flat out honest. The Baltimore Ravens took the foot off the gas versus the Philadelphia Eagles. When they were up 21-0, they started to throw some wrinkles in there, work some stuff out, or maybe put back as even. I don't know. I turned that game off to be honest. I got tired of watching it. I ain't gonna front. But to say the Eagles scored 28 points against the Ravens, yes, it's still a professional team. 28 points, yada yada yada. But then the next week, 2 days later, Doug Peterson comes out and says Jalen Hurts is going to get more snaps in our offense. What does that tell me? They're losing faith in Carson Wentz. So this Thursday night game, it would not surprise me one bit if Carson Wentz gets benched at halftime. Jalen Hurts comes in, scores a touchdown, maybe leads them to a field goal, 10 points. But I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. They're going to win it 20-13. I think Danny Dimes throws for 2 touchdowns and missed a PAT, obviously. So if I'm a bet man, taking the Philadelphia Eagles and I'll give you the points, right? I'll give you the 4.5. 20-13 is the final score. Philadelphia Eagles do win. Why? Because of the play of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to come in the second half. I see Triple Shot Sports in here on the M&M chat line here says, do not put money on this game. I would not put money on this game at all because you don't know who is going to come out healthy. The only way I would put money on this game is if you are betting the over of 5 injuries coming out of this game. Now, I don't like wishing injury on anybody whatsoever, but that has been the story of these two teams is injuries. But back to my point here. The reason why the Philadelphia Eagles win is because they put Jalen Hurts in to replace Carson Wentz in the second half. Much like what the Chicago Bears did against the Atlanta Falcons. Mitchell Trubisky necessarily wasn't playing bad football. They just weren't playing inspired football. They just weren't playing exciting football. Nick Foles came in, added that certain level of excitement, added that certain level of swag, added that certain level of hey, look at my bling bling, right? Meaning the Super Bowl ring. Jalen Hurts doesn't have that. He does have a national championship ring, though. He did come from Alabama. He did transfer and go to OU. Played very, very well at OU. Did have a great college career. Is doing good stuff when he gets the chance on the Philadelphia Eagles football field. So, when Jalen Hurts comes into the ballgame, the second half, Carson Wentz is going to get benched. You can say it is going to be an injury. He like, oh shit, my shoulder hurts again, right, or my leg or ankle or whatever. You can put the blame on whatever you want, but he's going to get benched. Jalen Hurts is going to come in there and going to start playing inspired football. They are going to start slinging the ball across the field. They are going to start to run the routes a little bit crisper. They're going to start tackling a little bit better. It is going to be a 13-13 tie going into halftime. And then, no. It's going to be a 13-10. Eagles fail losing at halftime. Jalen Hurts comes in. His first drive in there, throws a touchdown. Marvelous. Kind of tamper down a little bit, collect their thoughts. Giants regroup a little bit. Rest of the third quarter sucks. Most of the fourth quarter sucks. And then Jalen Hurts drives the Eagles back down the field. 7-minute drive. To ice the game with the field goal. With a minute left. Danny Dimes doesn't do anything with it. Throws an interception to end the game. Eagles win 20-10. Giving them 2-4-1 record on the season, move the Giants to 1-6. The Eagles would be tied for first place with this win, with 2-4-1 record in the NFC East. I have seen people saying that the winner of the NFC East is going to be a 6-win team. I beg to differ. I think the winner is going to be 8-8, maybe 7-9. I don't know, 7-9. But they're not going to be a 6-win team. There's going to be no way that the Eagles and Cowboys finish under 6 wins this season. Eagles are going to get hot. They're going to get healthy. They're going to look in the free agent market. They're going to look at Antonio Brown. They're going to look at Josh Gordon. They are going to look at other possible trades. Can we trade Carson Wentz? Who wants a quarterback out there? Quarterbacks for everybody. Who's getting 8 wins in this division? It is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win this division. Triple Shot Short says, pipe me in. You know what, Combs? We have after hours tonight, but I'll pipe you in. I'll give you a little phone call there, Mr. Coombs. I ain't scared. Nobody.
Hello.
Brandon Coombs is on the line, guys, from Triple Shot Sports. Man Hour After Hours. What's up, Brandon?
You are out of your ever-loving mind.
Out of my mind about what? Explain it to me.
There is not one team in this NFC East that is getting 8 wins. Not one.
Okay. Why?
What makes you think that any team in this division is going to do anything than win games outside of this division?
So, let's say they just win all their games in the division. That's 5 wins there. You only need 3 outside.
Yep.
You only need 3 outside of the division.
Nobody in this division is winning any games outside of their division.
Okay.
Not one.
Let's look at the Philadelphia Eagles schedule moving forward. They play the Giants tonight. That's a win. They play the Cowboys. That's a toss-up one way or the other. Whoever wins that game next week, November 1st, between the Eagles and the Cowboys, win the division. Then they play the Giants again. That's another win, right?
Yep.
Then they travel to Cleveland. The Cleveland is the worst 4-2 team that we have ever seen. The way people are talking, that ship is about to explode. Everybody is jumping off. They are talking about sitting Baker Mayfield. They want to trade Odell Beckham Jr. Hell, Landry Jones probably has a sprained ankle now.
So let's say they win 2 out of those next 4. Okay. 2 out of those next 4. How many wins?
That gives them 4. They're at 4-4.
All right. Then they lose to the Seahawks. They lose to the Packers. They lose to the Saints. They lose to the Cardinals.
No.
What?
No.
Who do they beat?
They will beat the Cardinals, Cowboys, and Washington to finish the season. That will give them 7 wins, 7-9-1.
You are out of your ever-loving mind.
But if you would listen to my comment earlier, you said who out of that division is going to get the eight wins, and I answered it to you. It is the Dallas Cowboys.
You are.
The Dallas Cowboys are sitting right now at 2-4. They play Washington this week. That's a win.
Did you put whiskey in your Cheerios?
I did not.
Were you hanging out with Ben's this morning?
Yeah. Matthew,
I mean, like.
But seriously, hear me out here.
What Cowboys team you're watching? What Cowboys team that just got beat 31-3 at home against the Cardinals, who you just said are going to lose to the damn Eagles?
Yeah, so they are losing to the Eagles because of matchup situations, and they already had their playoff seed lock at that point, and they can't move up and they can't move down.
They're losing this week to the Washington, not Redskins anymore.
Well, that is a false statement there because they're going to beat the Washington Redskins. They're going to beat the Eagles. They're going to lose to the Steelers. So right there, 2 wins. So they're at 4 now. They're going to beat the Vikings. There's 5. Beat Washington again. There's 6. They'll lose to the Ravens. They'll beat the Bengals.
No, they won't.
They'll beat the 49ers.
No, they won't.
Then they'll beat the Eagles.
No, they won't.
Shoot, the Dallas Cowboys could still win 10 games.
They're going to split with the Eagles.
Okay.
They're going to split with Washington. They're going to lose to the Steelers. They're going to lose to the Vikings. They're going to lose to the Ravens. They're going to lose to the Bengals. They're going to lose to the Niners. And they might beat the Giants if there's anything left to play for in Week 17, but probably not.
Okay, so just by those games that you named, right there, 7 wins. And I bet you they can steal one from the Bengals, Ravens, or the Steelers, or even the 49ers. They will win one out of those 4 games and give them 8-8.
How did you get 7 wins out of that? They have 2 wins.
Yeah.
They get 1 win off of Washington. They get 1 win off of Philadelphia, so that's 4. And I have them losing the rest.
Well, see, right there is a false statement. It would not surprise me one bit if the Cowboys rattled off 6 games in a row.
They are. The winner of this division is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles at 6-9-1.
You are 100% incorrect on that.
Okay.
100% incorrect.
You're out of your mind.
Listen, have we been watching the same Dallas Cowboys? The same Dallas Cowboys that lost to the Rams Week 1 because of a false pass interference call? Are we watching the same Dallas Cowboys team that came down from 28 points down to beat the Atlanta Falcons? The same Dallas Cowboys team that went toe-to-toe with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks. Super Bowl bound Seattle Seahawks.
That just got smoked at home on Monday Night Football.
Okay. Every NFL team has that one game where they forget to show up. Every NFL team. If you want to flash back to last year, Green Bay Packers traveled to Candlelight Stadium to take on, I believe at the time, the undefeated San Francisco 49ers, and they lay a flat dud. They did. They forget to show up, right? You want me to go back to this year? The Kansas City Chiefs forget to show up at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders. They laid a flat dud. It happens. Every NFL team has that one game where they forget to show up. People start to talk. People start to say, "Oh, trade world."
other than Zeke. What you're going to do is you're going to stack the box. You're going to stop Zeke. You're going to force Andy Dalton to beat you, and he's going to throw 6 picks.
Andy Dalton will not throw 6 picks because if you flash back to his Cincinnati days, he was a great average quarterback with nobody around him. You want to talk about having no talent around him? Andy Dalton had no talent around him. A.J. Green was his only guy, and he was never on the field for more than 80% of the season.
I'm pretty sure he had Ocho Cinco for a little bit. I'm pretty sure that they had a pretty damn good run game. They had a good offensive.
Those years that he had Ocho Cinco and a running game, they made it to the playoffs, did they not?
Andy Dalton, then Andy Dalton found a way to help them lose. That's what Andy Dalton does. Andy Dalton is that quarterback that when you need him to make a play, he's going to make that play, but it's going to be for the other team.
No, it's not. Come on now. So you are telling me that Andy Dalton is not a good quarterback because he led his team to the playoffs like 3 or 4 years
Andy
in a row.
Dalton's not a good quarterback because Andy Dalton over the course of his career has not been a good quarterback.
He also hasn't had anybody around him over his course career or a good coaching staff.
And he still doesn't have a good coach around him.
Mike McCarthy is probably one of the top 5 coaches in all of NFL.
You're smoking rocks. If he was a top 5 coach in the NFL, he would have won more than one Super Bowl with Green Bay with maybe a top 5 quarterback all time.
Winning a Super Bowl is hard work, very hard work.
Right.
Are you saying so? Let's throw out a coach here, okay? Andy Reid. He's only had 1 Super Bowl as a head coach,
and he should have had more. But he has horrible, probably the worst clock management I've ever seen in my life.
Are you saying Andy Reid is a horrible coach?
No, I'm not saying he's a horrible coach.
You are just contradicting yourself. You saying Mike McCarthy's a horrible coach because he has 1 Super Bowl ring.
Super Bowl versus the Patriots. He cost the Eagles the Super Bowl versus the Patriots because he had horrible clock management. He has 0 clock management ability. That is the one knock I have on Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a great coach, but when it comes down to the fourth quarter and it comes down to crunch time, he is an awful clock manager.
You can say what you want about it, but he has a Super Bowl ring, and you just said it yourself. He is not a horrible coach. He is a good coach, if not a great coach. So you cannot measure success off of Super Bowl rings.
Mike McCarthy is a horrible coach.
No, he's not. Then why did the Cowboys hire him?
Because nobody else would take that job with Jerry Jones at the helm.
The Cowboys is a dream job.
Nobody else wanted him.
When you are the coach for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, that is a dream job for any head coach.
When you are the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, you are Jerry Jones' yes man, and that's all that you are.
Until Mike McCarthy showed up.
Okay. If you believe that, then I'm telling you right now, you really need to stop hanging out with Ben's and having breakfast.
I'm telling you right now, Andy Dalton leads the Dallas Cowboys to the playoffs and wins a first-round game.
How much are we putting on this?
I don't. $10. There you go. How about that?
Yeah, you're pretty confident.
I have a allowance that I have every week, so I can't spend too much money because I need my monsters. All right. Brandon, I'm going to let you go. We're going to wrap up the show here. But, guys, join us, Man Hour After Dark, myself and Combs tonight, 10 p.m. East Coast time. We're going to welcome Wayne G onto the show. We're talking a little bit of baseball, a little bit of Nolan Ryan. Is Nolan Ryan a top 10 pitcher of all time?
No.
No? Find out why tonight on the Man Hour. Brandon, thanks for calling in, man.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, guys, so that was Brandon Combs as music comes blasting in from the Triple Shot Sports Network. If you guys were following in the chat here, he was piping in and says, hey, call me. So I gave him a call. I gave him an opportunity to speak on the Man Hour, the Mike and Mike Man Hour. But he'll get an earful tonight on Man Hour After Dark, guys. Tune in tonight on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Mike and Mike Man Hour, After Dark, 10 p.m. East Coast time. But, guys, that is it for tonight. I had the Eagles winning tonight, 20-10. We out.
Lost in he had woke up and saw her on him and it pissed him off. All of a sudden he went crazy just.
Hello? Hello?
Oh my God!
Hello? Who is this? Whoever you are, stop playing on my phone.
It's me. I just wanted to tell you I love you.
I'm watching your every move.